Harambe YouTube. It's Charles here. Today I want to talk about a book that I should have known about. I didn't know about until I went into Spellbound Apothecary and Entertainment, and that is The Curse of Sherlee Johnson. It is from Image Comics, and it is part of the Spawn universe. And if you watch this channel, you know I love, and I try to keep up with everything happening in the Spawn universe. There are a lot of books that have a lot of companies have books that cross characters, so to speak. You know, you have the Marvel universe, you have the DC universe, and there are lots of tie-ins. And a lot of those books, I'm going to let you know right now, I can miss them, and I'm okay. But it seems like with every Spawn book there is, yeah, you don't have to read every one, but when you read every one, you get much more out of each book and out of each series. Nothing seems to really be a throwaway, and it adds to and builds on the lore of the nearly 400 issues of Spawn and everything else that has happened around Spawn. Right now, we have The Curse of Sherlee Johnson. We have Nyx. She has a book. We have two Spawn titles, Spawn and King Spawn. We have Gunslinger Spawn. What else do we have? Deadly Tales of Gunslinger Spawn, which is an origin story. We also have The Cursed. Just got Medieval Spawn. They put out Violator. Rat City, which takes place in the future. And I heard rumors about a possible She Spawn spin-off. I mean, who knows what's next, but I'm never disappointed when I spend my money on a Spawn Universe title. And so I was in this comic book store, like I said. I saw this, looked interesting. I saw the Image logo, more interesting. And then I saw the new U logo. The logo that is on all these Spawn Universe books, and I had to pick it up. And like I said, I was surprised and upset that I didn't know about it. But what it is this picks up on a story thread from Spawn number 5. Um, it it's what happened to the young 7-year-old victim, Sherlee Johnson, of the serial killer Billy Kincaid. What happened to her after she died? And I after I read this, because I didn't start reading Spawn until about 310. So I'm still catching up on a lot of the lore, and so it tells you, this is taken off from issue 5. Unfortunately, my Spawn collection, I have a reissue of number 1, and then I don't pick up again until number 12 as far as the early issues go. So this is a completely fresh story to me, but you start off with a brilliant way of recapping. You find Sherlee in this dark waking nightmare of, you see Billy Kincaid and Spawn is battling, and you see her scared for her life, hiding, and she talks about this process of dying and being reborn and the pain and how Spawn couldn't save her. And so it's very, very dark, and you realize that what's been going on since for this girl is that she has been reliving this experience of being murdered and not saved by Spawn, and has built up physical and emotional scars to show for it. And she is kind of a hell Spawn who is kind of trapped in that moment. And we find out more about her, more about the story, and you find out that she's trapped in hell and trapped in this repetitive Groundhog Day-esque nightmare. And she is finally broken free from another person in hell whose path she happened to cross, a mysterious gentleman who you see here on this. I'm sure if I knew more about the Spawn lore and history, I would know who this is. But another Spawn, a warrior, if you will, trying to avenge the death of his village, and he takes it upon himself to guide this young Spawn to safety. This is a very big issue. It's $5.99, and as you know, with the Spawn Universe titles, they're always trying to stay a little bit cheaper than the rest of the books to, I think, honor the roots of it and to really reward their fans. They're not trying to get all your money. And so whereas most books were $3.99, Spawn has been $2.99. And so with this $5.99 title, you know you're going to get a lot of book, and we get a story that is separated into two. First, her story, and then when she connects up with this roving uh, warrior and their adventures together. And I don't want to say, I don't want to give away too much, but it is definitely something I would prefer. For one, the imagery and the art is gruesome yet beautiful, and I love the way where I think a lot of books, when you're dealing with something that hasn't been touched on for a while, um, they'll they'll leave a preamble of just telling you in the words what has happened, who this is, and what's going on. But instead of spoon feeding you the history, they give you the history in narrative form. And so the first few pages of this is establishing that history of who this character is without a preamble, but they're making it part of the story. And you feel that nightmare, and that from her perspective, everything around her is big and scary and imposing. And I really find her character to be intriguing because while she has the appearance and the thought processes of a child, she has the jaded cynicism of a veteran who survived a horrible war, because that's what she's been in essentially since Spawn issue 5 way back in the 90s. And I thought that that is an interesting dichotomy between this 7-year-old trapped in a brutal Groundhog Day esque repetitive nightmare, yet has still been through it. Um, and we also see a lot of imagery as they travel through hell. You see the bodies of some kind of war, and of course that's in reference to the war for hell that took place and that actually ended in 350. And so every detail that you read in a Spawn book, um, a lot of these things, that these threads that are put down, you may not expect to see, but they're tying it in. They're not just creating new lore and new books just for the sake of new books. They're tying everything together. And I think that's the beauty of the Spawn universe, is Todd McFarlane's hand is still very much in the process. He writes specific issues of every book in this universe. And if he's not writing it, he's scripting it, he's overseeing it. And he has a team of people that he knows will um, that they will see out his vision for this universe. And so we get a lot of consistency. And really, I have not found a narrative loose thread yet. I think there surely is. I mean, with the amount of books they put out, I'm sure there is a narrative loose thread, but I am hard pressed to find one. Let me know in the comments if you've been able to find any, but I haven't. But I think that if you are a fan of Spawn and the Spawn universe, The Curse of Shirley Johnson is is a great find. It's novel in that it ties back to the very, very beginnings of the Spawn universe. And we get to see, for those new readers, we get to see glimpses into that story as well. So, yeah, get yours at your local comic book store if you're in Wyoming. Check out Spellbound Apothecary and Entertainment in the Eastridge Mall, right across from Hot Topic. And if you're ordering from Wyoming, they have free shipping statewide when you order over $35 worth of books. And if you're not in Wyoming, check out my friends over at Coffee and a Comic. They give you complimentary fresh ground coffee with every order and ship nationwide with great prices and service. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep reading books. I'm out.